Here at the Giver Marketing Network, we don't leave you drifting out in space. We connect you to a coach who will help you build and grow your marketing business. Our process acts as a guide on how to connect with other businesses, maintain good relations, and establish a presence on the Giver Marketing Network. Each member within this collaborative group will have the opportunity to leverage your talent and influence, a true network effect. If you are looking to collaborate on more projects, welcome to the Giver Marketing Network, the most trusted and highest rated collective of specialists on the planet. Here we have a group of like-minded professionals who focus on making valuable introductions and helping each other grow by teaming up. Imagine Upwork meets a network and a coach. The talent collectively includes services like visibility and SEO, creating logos, designing websites, managing social media, outreach messaging, visual storytelling, and much more. Think of what you could do with laser-focused allies strengthening your business while offering your talents to the entire network. Click near this video for more information.
Hello and good morning. It's another Tuesday marketing broadcast sponsored by Giver Marketing Network. I'm Christine Deane. I am team director at Giver Marketing, and I am so excited that we have Sophie in the house today. Hey, Sophie.
Hey, Christine. Good to see you this morning.
Oh, yeah. Sophie, we've been having so much fun just getting to know each other and talking marketing and just nerding out on that stuff. And I was like, oh my goodness, we need to bring Sophie on the show. They need to get to know Sophie because you've come so far with what you've been working on. I know you've gone through some struggles like most of us have, but I don't think everybody knows you yet. So let's talk to them a little bit about where you're at and where you've been.
Sounds good. So I am currently in Nashville, Tennessee, with my husband. My kids and grandson are in the area. We've been in Tennessee most of the last 35 years in various different places. But I was born and raised on a pig farm in Southern Illinois and grew up with a dad who cussed like a sailor, spoke his mind, loud and proud, was unfiltered, and his whole wild and crazy self, so to speak. I went to college like every good person did back in the day to get a degree in political science, international studies. I was supposed to be the ambassador to Russia, but here I am, nowhere near that. And back in the day, about 25 years ago, I needed to help the family finances. So getting a job would have just paid daycare for the two young kids. So I jumped in the online space and I became a freelancer, started out as a remote virtual customer service representative for an e-commerce company, worked with them for 4.5 years, ended up running his $500,000 a year company for a whopping $12 an hour. Decided that was no longer worth my while with all the stress and whatnot that went with it. So quit, became a stay-at-home mom for a brief period of time before the house started falling apart. So I had to go back to work. This time I got into transcription. And I found a company that hired me, trained me, and I was doing the teleseminars of old. Remember those? Long before Zoom and webinars and all that good stuff. I was transcribing teleseminars of the online business owners that I work for today. I was inspired to relaunch myself as a virtual assistant at the time. And I got on social media, networked, and shared my expertise. And 6 months later, other virtual assistants were hiring me as a subcontractor. So lo and behold, October 2009, my business was born. Back then, it was Sophie Zollmann, Virtually There For You. It was a virtual assistant company doing all things marketing, admin, execution, operations, you name it, we did it. Evolved it, grew it, became a certified social media manager and online business manager, kind of went solo for a while, built my business up to 6 figures, and went exclusive for a client in 2018. And in 2019, they fired me. So I lost it all and started all over with a lovely digital marketing agency that I had just put together prior to being let go, and rebuilt to 6 figures in about 15 months, increased to double 6 figures over the next few years. And then I rebranded, became Sophie Zollmann Next Level Business Support, marrying operations and marketing. Thought that was a good thing. Not so much. Didn't really work out. I kind of got stagnant and kind of got bored, and well, not even really bored. I was just in 2024, I decided to get real with myself and be honest and say, you know what, I hate doing operations. I don't want to do it anymore. And honestly, operations and marketing under one business roof don't really go together. So I'm going to focus on my passion, which is marketing, and created a whole new business model, fractional marketing departments, relaunched and renamed one more time in 2025. And here I am today serving the independent, family-owned and employee-owned healthcare, legal, and financial service providers, fighting those corporate monsters who are ruining their profession and their communities and trying to stay alive to serve better.
I love that. And see, what I love about you, Sophie, is you're just honest, authentic. This is my journey. And you know what? Your journey mirrors so many entrepreneurs' journeys, so many small business owners' journeys, right? We have an idea, we kind of head that way, and then we go up, shift, right? And then like, oh, that didn't go like I expected to, shift again, right? And so we kind of wiggle around till we find that spot that just feels right. I know that's been my journey also. I mean, I've back communications, teaching, right? But the journey of where I ended up here, my crooked path, I always say, you know, was perfect because it got me to right where I am today that I love. And
Yes.
same thing for you, right? You finally figured out where your sweet spot is. And I feel you on the operations side. I get it, right? Because I do a lot with operations too. So it's like, oh, girl, I feel like you're singing my song.
Oh yeah. I mean, and you know, the big thing about it was everybody thought it was one and the same. They're like, well, marketing is operation. And it's like, no. And trying to explain the difference and why you need both and how we can put both together just became so difficult and it was just confusing for people. And I'm like, you know, a confused buyer doesn't buy. So
Exactly.
It's like, okay, it's time to get serious and do my passion anyway. And, you know, and walk my talk. You know, I always tell them, do what you love, delegate the rest, yada, yada, yada. And here I was not really truly living what I was speaking. So that was the other piece of my decision in 2024 is like, this girl's going to walk her talk once and for all, 100%. And be who I am, do what I love, and, you know, make my priorities the true priorities in my life, my health, my family, my, you know, the revenue and income, but it all starts with me. And it was time to be me and step into what really means the fun and good stuff to me, and not just trying to do whatever people think I should do or what I think will make money. You know, it's like, follow your passion and do what you love and figure out something unique that only you can do and bring it to the world. And that's what I ended up doing finally.
I love that because as you step into your superpower, there's just something about that gets you ultra focused and ultra psyched up about it, right? Because you're so excited every day. I always say, you know, do you really work if you literally wake up every morning and go, oh my goodness, look at what I get to do today? That it's just an opportunity. I think a lot of people don't do that. I think a lot of people haven't found their sweet spot or they're afraid to. So I'm just going to say kudos for the courage to shift as needed to find that happy place for you. So I love that about you, Sophie.
Yeah, you know, real, raw, and honest is just who I am. And when you hide behind facades, when you pretend to be someone you're not, it just doesn't work. And it gets so exhausting and so, you know, depressing even. I mean, working like I was working, I had a couple of health scares that, you know, really brought reality to me. I mean, the hustle grind just isn't it. If you're hustling and grinding and killing yourself 24/7 and all those things, you're not going to get where you want to go. Except maybe in the hospital or sick as a dog or, you know, worse, which we don't even want to go there either. I mean, a few years ago, I got COVID so really bad that I was in bed all day. And, you know, I was such a hustle grinder at the time that I didn't go to bed when I was sick. I worked through it. I pushed through it, but I was so sick. I couldn't do it. I couldn't get out of bed. And the whole time I was laying in bed that day, stressing over being in bed, not working, all that kept going through my mind, but from up above, from divine, whatever, was ease and grace, time and space. And it just kept repeating in my head. And I was like, okay, I get it. I finally get it. Yeah. And I got out of bed later that day and listened and just changed everything and stopped the hustle grind. Started taking I was taking care of myself. That's the crazy thing, is I was taking care of myself, but I was hustling and grinding so hard that what I was doing wasn't enough. The overwork, the stress, and all that I was doing just just overpowered all the self-care and whatnot that I was doing. And it was a huge reality check. And so I'm like, okay, success takes time. It is not overnight. It is not, and it's not guaranteed either. So you got to do what you love and take care of yourself, put yourself first, family, God, whatever you believe are the priorities of your life, and let go of the how. Stop trying to figure it out and make it work. Stop forcing it. Know what you want to do, have a game plan in mind, and let the opportunities and everything else come to you. It's not sitting on the couch going, this is what I want, and waiting for it to drop in your lap. It is, because that doesn't work either. It's not magic. Although I'm a Harry Potter nerd and I do believe in the magic of life, but not instantaneous wave a wand, here's everything you desire. It takes work, but it takes conscious work, and it takes coordination with the powers that be, people, all the different things that make it go. It's not something to do alone. It's not something to do with the wrong people in your life, the wrong connections in your life. It is having people who know you and love you and cheer you on. It's mentors and coaches and all those things. And it's having a team around you that supports you and believes in your mission to be able to take it out in the world together and not alone.
Those are great words of advice right there. And I think that's one of the hardest things for entrepreneurs or small business owners is stepping beyond themselves, right? Like you said, surrounding yourself with that right team and being open to opportunities. Opportunities has been the secret to success for me also. It's amazing when you pour into people that they pour back into you. And that's how that team evolves. So girl, like I said, you're singing my song. I love this. And, there's something to be said about the experience where we come from, right? Because we bring a little bit with us everywhere we go. If you hadn't spent that time doing the virtual assistant stuff, if you hadn't spent the time with boots on the ground and learning those skills from ground up, right? You have an understanding now that you bring to the table. Because I know I do too, because I still do a lot of hands-on stuff because I enjoy it, right? But the idea is you understand beyond just the theory, right?
Mm-hmm.
Here's a wonderful
100%.
theory, and everybody goes, that's great. It sounds wonderful, but how does it actually work? Or is it practical? Is it right? We've been there, done that. And so we know what the difference is. And so I just kind of laugh because without it, we wouldn't be who we are.
Oh, exactly. And I wouldn't have ever been able to bring
our decisions.
Exactly. And I would have never been able to bring to life the newest incarnation of my business. And because of all that I've been through and the knowledge I bring to it and the experience, I'm way more passionate about my business than I ever have. 16 and a half years in business, and I am more on fire about my business and what we're doing now than I ever was in all those things I was doing before. I loved what I do, generally speaking, and I worked with some great people, but now I truly have a mission. I truly can make an impact, something I couldn't do as strongly as I can now, because who I serve and how I serve really is going to make a difference in healthcare, legal, financial, professional services, because corporate monoliths, corporate America is really working hard to take over, and they're working hard to take over in a way that is not good for people, the economy, communities. They're killing those professions. They're doing more harm than good. And most people are afraid to say that out loud. But post-pandemic, with all the things going on in the world every year, not just this year or last year, people are really getting sick and tired of the corporate monsters that are just
Corporate
bleeding us
grind.
dry and, treating us like shit. And we're done with that.
Well, so we hear a lot with burnout. I know I've got a client that talks about burnout, and that's huge, right? And I think that's what we're seeing a lot of, whether it's the corporate side or the entrepreneur side. So finding that balance, finding your tribe, finding people who can help, and finding someone that understands what your mission is and is willing to team up with you. And I know you and I both think that way with the whole marketing. As a marketing piece, our partner with our clients and help them achieve their goals. We bring our expertise to the table, right? So you've niched it down to that area of professional services, which is great. And I know with your experience, you've discovered along the way some of the tips and tricks, right, that they may not know what to focus on. I think a lot of times we're good at what we do, but we don't necessarily understand the marketing side of it, the business strategy side, right? So I know you've got some tidbits of wisdom that you wanted to share with us today, and I would love to dive into that.
Yes. It's basically the 3 gaps that I have figured out in all these years in marketing that almost everybody is doing, but it is really specific for me for those industries because that's where my heart lies. I live in Nashville where the 5 biggest healthcare conglomerates are headquartered, and I have personally experienced the terrible healthcare they provide. So it truly is a heartfelt mission. And I can take that and all I've discovered with what doesn't work in marketing and bring it to them to show them what works in marketing. And the first thing is a strategic foundation. They do not have one. They don't have a strategy. They don't have a plan. They're doing random tactics, latest trends, whether it's a fit for them or not.
Right.
They're, doing what the cookie cutter stuff that the latest guru is pitching. And they're not really they don't have a strategy. They don't know who their ideal clients really are. They don't know where their ideal clients live, where to market to them, what to say to them, how to speak to them to get their attention. And they don't even know how to present their independence, their family owned or employee owned concept to show that they stand out, what makes them different, to show that they care about their people. They take the time to serve their people. It's not just an assembly line cookie cutter, come in, talk to you 5 minutes, prescribe a pill, give you a basic contract, whatever. They truly want to have your health, your success in mind with whatever you need individually. And that's what I'm doing for them. The strategy is customized and individual.
Mm-hmm.
It is not cookie cutter. It is not random tactics. It brings to life where they need to be, where their people are, and how to talk to them and how to bring out their uniqueness, because that is so key to be able to stand out in the noise that those $1 million, $1 billion corporate entities are putting out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, it really makes sense because there's a lot of Americans that would love to support those small businesses. They don't want to just be another number, right? So if you have a family-owned business or employee-owned business, right, there's an opportunity there to really, it's grassroots, the idea of building community. So that kind of approach is a special approach. It's not the same as a lot of times the corporate jargon. And so I love the small businesses too. So one of my favorite topics here, Sophie.
Yes. All righty. So the second thing is execution coordination. They don't have the people. Mm-hmm. And even if they do have the people, they don't know how to manage them, how to tell them what to do. They're doctors and lawyers and financial planners and wealth managers and dentists and veterinarians. They didn't go to college to be marketers. They went to college to be those professions, and they want to do their profession. They don't want to do the marketing. So they're wearing the multiple hats. They're trying to herd the receptionist, maybe the office manager, or a bunch of freelancers, and just going, here's some random tactics, go throw it out there and do it. And they don't know why they're not getting results. And they're looking at the vanity metrics, not setting KPIs and metrics that matter to the bottom line. And So because they're doing that, because they don't have the strategy and they don't have a team of specialists, in my case, a fractional marketing department, the whole thing, the leadership, the execution, the strategy, all the things, it just doesn't pan out. And when you're looking at vanity metrics like likes, share, engagement, it's not that they're not important, but they're not the conversion statistics. You need to be looking at the conversion statistics, which leads me to the third gap is KPIs and metrics that are not connected to revenue growth. The vanity metrics do not show up in your bank account. Likes and shares do not make payroll. Likes and shares and engagement do not generate the revenue and the new patients or new clients that you need, because it's not done in a way that drives the conversions, that drives leads, that drives sales. And so when you're chasing the metrics that don't lead to your bottom line and you're only kind of feeding your ego, as I say, it doesn't really matter. The likes, engagement, and whatnot can tell you what content is right and is resonating. But until you are creating the campaigns from that strategy and plan with a team to execute it flawlessly and very definitively in a very certain way with specific intention, KPIs, and metrics, they're going to feed your bottom line, grow your firm, grow your practice, bring in more patients and clients so you can serve more people and serve your community. You're dead in the water. Those three things are crucial to success in marketing, which then brings success to your business and your bank account, not just your ego.
Yeah, it's a great point, Sophie. And I think that's one of the struggles I see a lot with the small businesses is they're not sure where to put their energy. Like, marketing is so broad, right? And they don't have the expertise themselves. They don't have everybody on hand to give them a hand with that. They don't even know who to hire to do what. And because they hired them, does that mean that they're good? Do they pay money to somebody who actually knows what they're doing? So I've seen small businesses spend money on things like you said, vanity metrics. So it's branding, right? It's like, well, I have a really pretty picture and people hit like on it. Yay. But did you actually get any business out of that?
Right.
And
exactly.
that is so hard, right? To understand between what's important and what's not, and helping them focus, especially the small business owners. They have such a small budget to start with a lot of times, right? One of our buddies at Giver Marketing is fantastic. He always talks about, he understands that when it comes to small business, when you do advertising, that's your grocery money. Like, this is your extra money that you're just carefully putting into something for marketing, hoping it brings leads in and hoping it generates more money, right? And if you don't put it in the right spot, it's like, oh man, it hurts. It really does hurt financially until you figure out the system of what works for your specific business.
Exactly. And it starts out, that's why you need the strategy and the plan and the execution with specific campaigns and metrics and goals, because that way you're testing something for something real that will produce data that you can then analyze and understand what works, what doesn't, and why. Because you can that's why random tactics don't work. It's like, well, if these random tactics didn't work, so marketing is not for me. Marketing doesn't work for my practice. And it's like, well, wait, what do you track? And how do you know it didn't work? And if something did work, how did you know what worked so you can maximize and optimize it? That's why you've got to have the strategy, the plan, the execution in very defined ways with defined metrics, because that's the only way you're going to figure out what does work. And it does take money. And I'm not talking, millions of dollars. Like that's the beauty of what I do is they can have that enterprise $1 million marketing without the $1 million price tag. And that's how they get ahead. That's how they compete. That's how they stand out. And they don't even know that because they think, well, if corporate healthcare is doing commercials and billboards and yada, 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 I got to do that, but I can't afford that. It's like, no, you don't have to do that. That's not necessarily for you. That's why that strategy is customized for them, their practice, those things, because they need to be where their people are. And yes, there's billboards and there's all those things, but those aren't necessary. There are other ways that you can get that same level of marketing without that expense, without all that hoopla, because, a lot of it is hoopla. And, you want to be different. You don't want to be like them. That's why you don't need all that they're doing. And that's why you differentiate yourself by doing what they're not what they're not doing, but doing things differently so that you do stand out amongst all their noise, and you can present yourself as the alternative, the best alternative to all the garbage they're putting out there.
And I think that's the hard part for small business owners. They see what's going on. They think, well, I should do that because that's what everything else is doing, all these big companies. And like you said, they're not realizing that strategy isn't necessarily effective for them, right? Having it what works for them and that customized side of it. They don't know the difference between the noise. They get lost in the noise and they think they just need to be noisier. And that's not necessarily the solution for them.
Right.
The frustration, right? They're good at what they do. We want to see them succeed. We want them to be able to help more people, right? But they're not sure where to start with that. So this is where having a marketing expert in the room really makes a difference, because you don't know what you don't know. Right. So they're sitting there, they're thinking they need this or that, and they see all these shiny objects running around. They're chasing those trends. Right. And it turns that none of those were meant for them. Like you said, it really makes a difference. And if you don't have a marketing expert in your pocket, a fractional CMO, someone else there who's been there, done that, who's got that experience in marketing, you don't even know what you're missing out on, what those opportunities are.
Exactly. Well, and here's the thing that a lot of people don't get. A fractional CMO alone is not enough, because they only provide the strategies and the plans. They don't execute.
Right.
It's up to you to then execute it or hire people to execute it. And you're back to I don't know who to hire. I don't know who's good at this. And you need the whole team, department. You need all the people to go with a CMO. A CMO alone is not enough unless you've got the people to do the work. And many of them don't. I mean, even if you're a receptionist or your office manager, it's like, but they're not the experts at it. Your receptionist is a receptionist, and she's meant to be that and only that, because that's where, that's your people connection. She's the one welcoming them in the door. She's the one making that connection, making their first experience in the door what it needs to be to make them happy, to get them shouting your name to the rooftops after they get such an experience from you. If they're splitting their time trying to do your social media or what the CMO is telling them to do, and they don't really know how to do it well, it's still not going to work. It takes expertise, and it takes a lot of people who know what they're doing for real and doing only that. Trying to split your focus, trying to be a jack of all trades. We say the CEO shouldn't wear many hats, neither should your team. It's
right.
No
I think
different.
we push that on the small business owners out of desperation, right? They don't know what else to do, and they don't have the income to necessarily hire somebody. So they'll do that. And we say, we understand that, but when you can transition to bringing a professional in your marketing space, this is what's going to help your bottom dollar, right? If you get the right person, the right company, the right CMO, the right people that can help with fulfillment, right? If you can get all that tied together, you're going to have a huge impact on your ability to do lead generation and bring in those clients in order to, increase the income. But a lot of times, like you said, it'll fall on the office manager, right? To do the marketing. It'll fall on the office, the receptionist in the front. It'll fall on, right? So you're dropping a lot of your important parts of your business, like bringing in leads, and you're dropping it on somebody who's not an expert. You're putting a lot of pressure on them for something that they didn't train to do. They don't have experience in it. They don't have degrees in it. You're really putting a lot of pressure on them to work in an area that's not their area of expertise. That's a lot of pressure to put on someone.
It is. And it makes their job really hard, and it makes them, it doesn't keep them in, for lack of a better word, in a happy place to love their job. Because here's the thing is, if you're forcing other work on your team members and it's not their area of expertise and they don't like doing it, you're taking away from their expertise and their joy to work with you and their love to work with you, to help you fulfill your mission. And if you're putting work on them that they are not happy doing, they're probably not going to stay. And you're going to have that turnover and churn in your non-marketing areas because you're trying to put them together. You're trying to make them do things that are not their expertise. And eventually they're going to get frustrated and they're going to leave because they don't want to do both. They just want to do what they're passionate about, what they know will help you grow your business in operations, in sales, in delivery, fulfillment. Everybody has their place. And when you keep everybody on their seat in the bus, but the bus is all running together and everybody is, singing songs and, thinking back to, high school and things like that. And you rode the bus and you're all having fun. The football team going to a football game on the bus, they're all bonding and doing stuff together because they're excited about the upcoming game. It's the same way with your business. Everybody needs to be in the right seat on the bus and everybody needs to be working together from that place because we all serve each other too. Marketing serves sales, serves operations, serves finance. And it's just this cycle of everybody's got to work together, but everybody's got to be in their expertise, doing their best as the expert with their knowledge and their experience.
Absolutely. And I think that's the hard part of knowing where that handshake is between marketing and sales. And a lot of times you'll find the small business owners that just assume it's the same thing.
Yes. And it's not.
It's not, right? So they're like, well, I spent all this money on, okay, well, what's happening on the other side, right? We always ask the question, okay, what is working now for your sales, right? Whatever's working now, the goal is to have marketing drive more of it. Right. So if it's phone calls, it's working. If it's email, it's working. If it's in-person events, whatever it is that's working for you, right? The goal is to get marketing to help push more of that so you can close more deals. Now, what the right answer is depends on your business, right?
Exactly. I mean, marketing drives the leads to sales who do their thing, whatever your sales process is, to convert those into clients and patients. But it also comes back to marketing from there. If they're not closing enough deals, they're not converting enough, then the conversation is, what are you finding when you're speaking to these people or emailing these people? What's the gap there? What kind of a person, where's our audience wrong? Where is our messaging wrong on our side? Because they work together. They really do. A lot of people, it's like sales will blame marketing will blame sales, but they should work together because they can help each other do better in both departments and be responsible joyfully and can share. Because I mean, it's not about the credit. It really isn't. But when they're working together and sharing the credit on making it happen, it makes it so much better for the rest of the company, because then we're also working with operations for fulfillment, making sure their ducks in a row, that the people that are coming in and able to receive whatever is being delivered and be happy with it. And then, finance is going, oh my God, look at our profitability. The marketing team has got this ROI and the sales has this ROI. And now we've got more revenue to put into the things that are working and optimizing, because it's all about optimizing what's working. And the more revenue you generate, the more you can optimize, but the more you're going to get return on your investment. And it is an investment. That is one of the other biggest mindset things that small business owners have to get to is marketing is an investment. Sales is an investment. Your people are an investment in growing your business and getting what you want, your dream to come true. It is not an expense. When you look at it as an expense, it has that negative connotation. And it's one of those things you can cut when times get tough. And that's the wrong thing to cut when times get tough. So it's got to be an investment, an ongoing investment in your success.
Right. Assuming that you're getting those results that you want, those conversions that you want. And once again, it's back to those KPIs again.
Yep.
Right? If you're not following the numbers, then how do you know whether or not what you're doing is successful if you're not following the path? And it could go anywhere as you're following that journey, that customer journey. Was it the right message? Is marketing pulling in the right people? Is sales then being able to convert them? Is that part of the process? Is it the other side of it? And it's now we've converted them, but now they're not happy because our customer service wasn't good. Where is it? So those bottlenecks and where you run into problems, you have to be able to follow that customer journey. So you've got to step back and take a look at that. And sometimes people get lost, right?
Mm-hmm.
As business owners, they get lost on where they're not experts on all those pieces, right? That's why you need your experts to come in and kind of give you a hand and walk you through it. because it
Yes.
can be overwhelming. Running a business is a lot of work.
It is. It is. And when they don't know what they're doing in those respects, and the report, and reports are great, but you got to make sure what you're reporting makes sense and is understandable to the business owner, because they can look at a chart and go, well, I think that looks good, but what does that mean? But when you've got your core 4 C-suite areas working together, presenting the information in a way that is digestible and gives them the bottom line and shows them what's working, what's not, they can go, oh, okay, thanks for working together. Thanks for bringing this to me. Now, what are our next steps? What are we going to do to maximize this and optimize this? And that's where those experts, again, bring it to the table in language that the business owner can understand, present it in whatever way works for them, so that they understand, okay, so these are our next steps. This is what we're going to do next. And then, and it's a cycle. It's like, here's your reports. Here's what's working. Here's what we're doing next to optimize it. Here's your reports. Here's what's working. And you just keep doing that. And as long as you keep doing that in a very strategic, data analysis, but also there is gut instinct here involved on all sides too. It's not just about the numbers. It's not just about the data and the brain side of things. There are aspects. It's just like poker. I'm a poker player. I am on a mission to be the first woman to win the main event at the WSOP, the World Series of Poker. And
I did not know that about you, Sophie. I love this.
It's another piece of me. And, but poker and marketing are alike. They really are. And people are like, well, yeah, poker's gambling. And, it's like, no, poker's not gambling if you are strategic. You know the odds, you do the math. It's data, it's strategy, it's data, it's gut instinct, it's reading the table, reading the people that you're up against, seeing how they play, how they behave, how they bet, all the different things, and you analyze it, and then you go into your hands playing with a strategy and a plan. But you also know there's times where you're just like, and that's where the gut instinct comes in, because once you have kind of got to know the players, you can go, oh, they're bluffing. I need to call that. I need to go all in. It's strategic, but it's also intuitive. And it's also, energetics, because, energetics plays into everything you do as well. And it's the same in marketing. Marketing is only gambling if you're guessing. And that, the random tactics, the guessing, the doing whatever you think might work, that's gambling. That's not poker. Strategy, data, gut instinct on, follow up on different things, combining that together makes for successful marketing. And, but here's the other thing is you're not going to, just like in poker, you don't win every hand, no matter how well you play. Luck changes. You misread something, something, or, just something shifts out of your control and you don't win. Marketing's the same way. Business is the same way. You're not always going to win. But
right. And you can't set it and forget it, right? You can set it, but then you need to adjust it. It's the same trends don't always stay, right? I mean, if we were all still buying like those big TVs, I remember, I don't know about you, but I remember having one of those 800-pound TVs. I mean, those suckers were big, fat, and heavy, right? Mm-hmm. But you don't hardly see those anymore, right? Now we have these big things that hang on the wall like a painting. I mean, so, things shift over time. So never think you can just set it and forget it. It's going to be something that you need to keep feeding and looking at and optimizing as you go. So marketing 100%. Is going to be an ongoing part of your business.
It is. And it is ever evolving and ever changing. Just like every poker table I play at is a different poker table. Mm-hmm. And also playing a cash game as opposed to a tournament. That's also a different approach, a different way of being. And each table, each tournament is different. And just like, with marketing, the trends change, the algorithms change, different things come to light, different opportunities, adding services to what you already do to expand your practice. There's always something changing, evolving, and you've got to go with it. That's why you can't set it and forget it. That's why you can't be stuck in one strategy and one tactic and one thing ongoing. it has to evolve and change. And that's why you have those experts to create the strategy, to track the metrics, to figure out what works, to tweak and add and change and evolve and optimize and maximize along the way and ongoing.
Absolutely. I love your approach, Sophie. It's one of the reasons I like you so much. I'm going to drop your link to your profile in LinkedIn. So that's going to be in the chat there. Click on that. Reach out to Sophie. Tell her you saw her on the Giver Marketing Network. Tell her you'd love to connect and have a conversation if this is resonating with you. Now, I know you have your favorite areas of industry that you're really focusing on. And with that kind of experience comes a special insight, right? Because like we said, marketing isn't the same all across the board. So if this is one of your industries, it might be worth having a conversation with Sophie just to find out, hey, what's going on with the latest trends for this industry? And I guarantee she's going to have some answers for you. So, Sophie, what are your areas of expertise again, just in case they were wondering?
So we work with the independent, family-owned, and employee-owned healthcare providers, and that's across all things: physical health, mental health, and animal health, veterinarians, because they're being bought out by the corporate world too. Mm-hmm. But we also work with attorneys and people in the financial space. Those are our three main areas of expertise, but we can work with any professional service provider out there as long as they are ready to jump in for the full-on commitment to the marketing that is going to get them where they want to go.
Right. Marketing's not one of those where you can just dabble and think you're going to get great results. Throwing spaghetti at the wall, hoping something sticks, right?
Exactly.
It takes time to find your sweet spot and what's working for your particular business. So you can't expect the results overnight. That's not how this works. No. That's that, miracle magic thing.
Yes.
I am not a magician. I don't play
there
on
is no
TV.
magical pill in marketing. Yes, I have a bunch of Harry Potter wands. I'm a Harry Potter nerd, but I cannot wave those wands and make your marketing instantaneously work and bring in millions of dollars more instantaneously. It's not. And in today's world, it takes even longer to really figure out what works because there is so much noise out there that you have to overcome to be able to figure out what works. So it's, there is patience involved here. Patience is a virtue, and it's something you gotta, trust and have faith and know that that we're going to figure it out, that it's going to work. And you just you're in it for the long haul. It's a long play. It's a long game. It is not a short game.
I love it. So Sophie, they can connect with you on LinkedIn. How else can they reach out to you?
They can find me at my website, fmdstrategicpartners.com. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, X, and YouTube. And I love to talk to people on all platforms, so you can reach me at any of those places.
I love it. Any last words of advice you want to throw out there? Any last bits of wisdom that you want them to walk away with?
I want to circle back around to you're not alone. Don't do it alone. And don't let others influence you with magic pills, magic wands, the cookie cutter trends that everybody's doing. Let's be different. Let's be original. Let's find what works for you, because that's where it's at.
I love that. Thank you, Sophie. Thank you so much for joining us on the Giver Marketing broadcast. We always have so much fun. We'll have you back on the show again. I know it's going to happen. But I just wanted to say, we do this every Tuesday. This is our give back for Giver Marketing. And so we understand the whole philosophy of having somebody to kind of help manage you through it, right? And having people help work with you. Sophie, you're going to fit in so well with our Giver Marketing Network. I'm going to send you an invitation to come hang out with us, because there is just something magical. When you can put marketers together and we can collaborate, we can do amazing things. Right? Because we've got somebody that can give you a hand with whatever that's going to work for your business. We've got an expert to do it. So we're going to have fun working together on that. So I also want to say is not only do we do this on Tuesdays, but on Wednesdays, we also have our networking for marketers. So if you are a lonelypreneur, don't be lonely anymore. Come hang out with us on Wednesdays. We love to meet other marketers. So I'm going to scroll that across the screen. So networking for marketers, Wednesdays, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 Eastern, or if you're in Texas, like I am in Central, it's 10 a.m. Register at givermarketing.com/networking and come hang out with us. You'll see me there on Wednesdays. We love getting to know each other, help each other. We work together. It is so much more fun when you don't do it alone, just like running a business, just like running your marketing business.
Yep. Don't do it alone.
That's right. Don't do it alone. All right, y'all. We will see you next time. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow or I'll see you next Tuesday. Have a blessed day.